We're back with another episode of our Ferrari Return to Glory career mode on F1 2020, and today we've got the second round of the second season then, the Chinese Grand Prix, having kicked things off last time out with the Bahrain Grand Prix. If you didn't see that one, I'd recommend going back and watching it because it's quite an interesting way to start a season, as you're about to see. Sergio Perez leads the driver's standings then after that first race. Racing Point leading the way, and yeah, they just got the strategy right on the day. So did AlphaTauri there with Danny Kvyat, and just some crazy results all through the field really, and set us up for a very interesting start to things. We're gonna do a durability upgrade then to the control electronics because we obviously struggled with that quite a bit towards the end of last season, so we could do with improving that quite a bit as we know advanced time now, and we will hope to have an engine upgrade coming through here as well, and we do indeed get that one size good. And you can already see that despite us not really doing any upgrades for a year, apart from the factory ones that we couldn't control, we've nearly caught up well to a lot of the teams, but it's just the Works Mercedes team that are quite far out in front of us at the moment. As we now reach then the race weekend, and here is how the vehicle comparison is looking at this stage. We have overtaken Racing Point according to this, and we're really on a charge now then towards Red Bull and also Mercedes, so hopefully we can bring ourselves right into that fight then sooner rather than later, and we could be in for a very good season potentially. Obviously only 16 races, but still plenty of points to play for then as we score some more resource points then in practice. Something I completely forgot to mention actually is that we didn't have any kind of driver transfers, even though I've got that turned on, so I was a bit disappointing heading into this season. But we get a new engine upgrade there though, and that should hopefully then put us around about on par, or maybe just about ahead then of Honda, which would be quite good there. Heading into qualifying now, so hopefully we can get a good position then on the grid. I think this was a track that I struggled at a bit last season as well, same with Bahrain. I think we got knocked out in Q2 here last season, so we want to try and put that right then this time. And the car did feel nice around here, so I was hoping that we could do a bit better in qualifying this time. And we set then a 29.6 for our first run in Q1, and that was good enough then to get us through, although Charles there all the way up in third, so yeah, we're quite a way off our teammate there, but we were comfortably through though, at least in 10th position. Raikkonen, Grosjean, Russell once again off the back road there in 18th, Giovinazzi and Latifi then are the drivers that dropped out in that session. On to Q2 now, where I thought if any track was going to be one where we should try and qualify on the mediums, it should be this one. Even if it's not that likely, we should still at least give it a go here, but it's not looking like it's going to work out here because we set a 30.9, although Hamilton's out there on mediums as well, so is Bottas. And now suddenly we're getting messages about the rain here. I didn't know anything about any rain because I actually didn't get sent any kind of weather forecast by the team, and I didn't think to check the one during the session for the what it's going to be like for the upcoming session. So yeah, that came as a bit of a shock then. So we're really going to have to hope that on this lap we can deliver then and get a good time in, and that'll get us into the top 10. And it is starting to rain now then by the time we get to the end of this lap, so this could be it. This could decide who gets through here, and you can see that Bottas is only 11th, so he's in big trouble here then as we come to the line, and we don't do enough. We're only 12th, and crucially there, Hamilton in 10th, so it looks like he is just about going to scrape through here on the medium tyres, but that could so easily have been both Mercedes knocked out in Q2 there. It is going to be Bottas knocked out by the looks of things then. And well, Mercedes really dropped the ball there. So did we to an extent, but at least we did get a time, another time on the board then, and we ourselves up to 12. But just look at that, only 400ths away from both Mercedes being knocked out in Q2 there. But it's looking good for Hamilton now then, because he is through to the top 10, and he'll be starting on medium tyres tomorrow. So certainly worked out for him quite well there, but yeah, a disaster then for Bottas.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment? You won't be starting at the front of the pack. Are you worried? Well, thanks anyway.
No, Claire, thank you for that choice of rivals. You know, I really appreciate that. That was, you know, a great choice there. So, yeah, I guess Leclerc's our rival then. But I mean, like, none of those seem like very favourable options then for who we'd want as our rival there. They all looked quite difficult to be able to actually achieve. Heading out then towards the race, and we're finally getting sent an email about the weather forecast, and this is looking quite interesting then for race day. It's going to start dry, it's going to end dry, but there's going to be a shower in the middle, so that could really throw things up then during the middle of the race. We've got a lot of work to do then for 12th on the grid, but hopefully this rain can play to our advantage then as we now head to the Chinese Grand Prix.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before the braking zone of turn 14. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's talk about the scientists. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Albon, Lance Stroll and Ricciardo, Gasly, Sainz, Norris and Valtteri Bottas. The scientist, Kvyat, Esteban Ocon and Magnussen, Perez, Raikkonen, Romain Grosjean and George Russell, Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, so we're looking properly quick now apparently. Leclerc is on pole position. I mean, I thought, you know, there was a bit of an overreaction really with us, you know, them saying it was a bad qualifying for us, but well, considering Leclerc's gone and put it on pole, it definitely was, I guess. But anyway, the team has, well, obviously suggesting we start on the mediums, which of course would be the right decision in a normal dry race. We'll be hoping that that rain doesn't come until after the soft tyre runners have to pit here. That would really benefit us. Obviously the top 9 except for Hamilton are all on softs. Also got Perez because he had that engine penalty, but he was inside the top 10, so he's on softs. And for some reason, I looked through it, and for some reason Romain Grosjean also decided he was going to start on soft tyres here, so we'll be hoping that the rain comes down sort of late enough that all those drivers on soft tyres have to pit before that stage that we go over to Inters. Then we'll see what we can do then. We're 11th on the grid then because of that penalty, and the lights are coming on now. Away we go. It looked like a pretty good start there from Bottas in front of us. Not too great from the two McLarens, it looked like. We've not had the best either, to be honest. We're not really challenging anyone here towards turn 1. Into the first corner, the bit of contact there between the two McLarens. It looked like they got away with it though. Norris just going for a little bit of a slide there. But we've just been left with nowhere to go really. And Kvyat is passing us then. He's 3 wide up in front of us once again then with Bottas. We're hoping for, well, not a repeat of last week then. Looks like he's got away with it this time. Kvyat's past them, but we're just going to go for a lunge here then. Down into the hairpin of turn 6. We're passing Kvyat then. We passed Norris by the look of things. A little bit of contact with Sainz, but we got away with that one then. And Norris is coming back at us so, but we should hopefully be able to fight him then round turn 7 and 8 here. Then we're going to have the inside line then for the right hander. And it looks like we've done just about enough here then to take that position then. And we move ourselves up into the top 10 there then, so took a bit of time there, but we did manage to make up a bit of ground then off the start. Bottas then certainly making some moves early on then on the medium tyres, so yeah, he's not sitting around here then, he's just going for it straight away. So looking like Charles had a good start then, just looking at the map there, he's put out a lead it looks like, so that's good for him. as we've got a great run in on Carlos Sainz down the back straight here, so we should hopefully have 9th place here then as we head towards the hairpin. Who can be the last late breakers then? It looks like it's been just about us then on the inside line there, and we are through then up into 9th position. We see then a replay of the start, and yeah, as I said, looked like it was a good start for Leclerc up front then, because he did maintain that lead then. And we see then it's 3 wide there, Bottas up the inside, and I think that just maybe pushed Sainz a bit wide, and then that caused a little bit of contact with Norris. It's all quite reminiscent here of obviously Kvyat, Raikkonen and Vettel back in 2016 here, so well, they were quite lucky on this occasion then that there was no damage here, and yeah, Norris was quite lucky there, to be honest, looking at that contact, but yeah, it wasn't too big a hit there, to be fair. We see then the onboard from Bottas then, he had a very good launch then, as it looked like from the initial view, and yeah, he was straight at the inside then of both the McLarens there, and yeah, obviously had damage on lap 1 last weekend, so you can see here around turn 3 giving him a very wide berth this time, but yeah, he didn't have to worry this time then, and he managed to get himself ahead. And then just a bit down the road, we went for quite an ambitious lunge ourselves here then, that we inside into the hairpin and managed to take back Kvyat there and also Norris. And then later on in the lap we managed to get the other McLaren then, Sainz, down that long straight. The Renault engine then just does not seem to be anywhere near competitive at the moment, because yeah, we've only just started upgrading our engine then, and we already seem to be well clear of them then. On to lap 2, and it is already starting to rain then, so this has come a lot earlier than we were maybe expecting, and certainly what we were hoping for, because this does look like now then that everyone is going to be pitting around at the same time then, having not made any kind of dry pit stop. So yep, certainly benefits all those on soft tyres then. Obviously that does benefit our teammate Leclerc then, so I guess good for the team overall. As Bottas was a bit out of shape then out of turn 4, so we're going to use overtake here then. We see the gap, we go for on the brakes, and it looks like we have managed to make it stick then up the inside into the hairpin, and we are through then past Bottas into 8th place. Obviously he was getting a bit held up there in some traffic, but still that certainly does us no harm then to put a move on Bottas then and slow down his progress a bit. And well, further up then, the other Mercedes was making progress then, lined up Verstappen here then into the first corner, and he was at the inside. Verstappen certainly wasn't giving it up though. Obviously this is only round 2, and this is the second wheel-to-wheel battle they've had then so far this season. Still side by side then, round turn 4 here, and they're going to be side by side then through turn 5, and towards turn 6 Verstappen is still fighting it then, but it looks like Hamilton then has done just enough there on the brakes, and he moved himself up into second. So another great battle there between the two of them, and on lap 5 we already have the team then telling us to pit. Obviously a reminder of course that whenever the team tells us to change our strategy mid-race, we do have to do that as part of the strategy rule that I have in place. But yeah, obviously that makes sense in these conditions to move over to the inters in these conditions, because yeah, obviously we're not going to be wanting to stay out much longer on these dry tyres, especially now that DRS has been disabled as well. It looks like most people pitted except for Albon and Bottas there. They both decided to stay out for some reason. We're following our teammate in then, so this may well be a bit of a slow stop here, and in fact it is then, because they weren't quite ready for us. But we get out then in not too bad a time there, then 4 seconds. Looked like Verstappen's actually lost quite a bit of ground there. I think we've actually managed to jump Ricciardo as well, so we've lost out to Sainz, but it's all just jumbled up there just because of who was lucky and who was unlucky in terms of being held there. So we've sort of gained a bit and lost a bit, but we've certainly gained back something there then on Sainz, because we just completely caught him napping there then through turns 1 and 2, and yeah, we just managed to carry so much more speed there then and moved ourselves back up into 11th position there. So yeah, that works out quite nicely for us then. This really didn't work out at all well for Verstappen then, who entered the pits there in 3rd position, and they can't find a gap to release him back into. Both McLarens then pulling in front of him. He just about manages to get round them, but he's lost a place then to both I think Stroll and Gasly there, so that's not worked so well at all for him there. And then we see there that Sainz just caught napping there completely through turns 1 and 2, and we managed to make that move stick there. Later on in the lap then we see that Latifi for some reason also didn't pit there, so he's now just being completely swamped by all of us coming through, and in fact we almost ran into the back of him there, then into the hairpin, had to really slam on the brakes on the apex to avoid a collision there, but thankfully we managed to avoid that then, as Gasly and Verstappen is still battling out then. AlphaTauri versus Red Bull. Obviously it's AlphaTauri who are leading the way then in the constructors at the moment, but obviously you expect that Verstappen and Red Bull would be coming back in front of them then sooner rather than later. Albon and Bottas then have both lost some time I think there then from pitting later, and together they're both a few places behind us then, so yep, staying out was certainly a bad call there then, and they would have been much better off stacking up than behind their teammates like we did. Skipping then to lap 10 where, well, we're using our overtake here, we're using Rich, but we're just not gaining at all then without any DRS, and looked like that was a problem for Verstappen as well because he just couldn't get close to Gasly either, so yeah, finding it a bit difficult then to pass in these conditions. We were building that gap over Sainz and Ricciardo there, so that was a good thing at least there then, but yeah, we just weren't getting anywhere near close enough then down the straight. It has now stopped raining interestingly, so yeah, it wasn't around for that long then, around about 8 laps now then that we've been on these tyres. But you can see that we're just all over back now then of Verstappen. We just need to try and find a place where we can go for the move here then, because it doesn't look like we're able to do it on the long back straight then when we don't have DRS here. We're just going to go for it then with overtake here then, see if we can close right up to him. Into the hairpin at turn 6, we do what we did with Bottas then, just go for the move up the inside, and we are through then and up into 5th place. So finally made a bit of progress then after quite a few laps there have been sat on the back of Verstappen. We finally managed to make that move stick, and it's not long before we're after the AlphaTauri now then of Pierre Gasly, and hopefully this time then, now that we don't have Verstappen in the way, we may have a good chance here then of catching him down this long straight. We still don't have DRS here then, but we're closing right up to him. He's going defensive, but we're just going to send it then on the brakes, and that being said, we just about managed to get it done then, up into 4th position in the race, so it's not turned out too badly for us then at this stage. And we see then first on board then from Verstappen. Couldn't get a good replay camera for this unfortunately, but this on board isn't too bad, so yeah, we'll still get a good view of that overtake there. And then here's the move on Gasly. He tried to close the door there, but we managed to go through then, and yep, later on the brakes there, so we managed to take ourselves up into 4th. Now then on lap 16 our engineer then is telling us to change strategy, which is just as well because they were originally wanting us to pit again for inters on this lap, but well, they've done the same as they did in Austin last season. They've told us to do 2 soft stints, so I guess that's what we're doing here then, even though you'd think that mediums or hards and just doing this one stop to the end would make more sense, but nope, they want to pit us twice more then, and this is the first one then for the soft tyres, and we'll just have to hope then that, well, some others are doing the same then. Well, it doesn't look like it because Gasly has gone over to mediums then, and so has Verstappen, although Stroll and Hamilton have both gone for soft tyres there, so seems to be a bit of a mix then in terms of strategy. We'll see what then what actually turns out to be the right decision here then. We're just going to have to try and build out a gap here then over Gasly, and hope that after our second stop we can close back up to him, because yeah, it looks like they'll probably be going to the end from there. As we see then Hamilton now taking the lead off our teammate Leclerc, but crucially Leclerc's on mediums, so if the mediums are the right way to go, then Leclerc is still looking very good to win this race, as Albon has once again been left out way too long there, and he's going to be dropping down the order. It moves back up to 4th then, but for the second race in a row we're running in 4th, but we've still got another pit stop to make, which is probably going to drop us quite a way down the field then, so we're just going to have to push as hard as we can then on these soft tyres and hope that sort of at the end it comes together for us then. As on lap 22 we are indeed being called in again then, as we have built out quite a gap then to Verstappen here then. It was about 7.5 seconds, and yeah, at the end of that lap then Stroll also pits in front of us. We seem to be around about the same pace really as Stroll, so that stint wasn't that eventful because I just couldn't really get close enough there to have any kind of like, well, sort of launch any kind of attack on him there. So it's looking like it's going to be pretty much as it was between us then, but where exactly are we going to come out from the pits here then? well, we're down, and once again looks like we're going to have a bit of a fight here then just to score some points, because we're down in 11th place then, and this does not look like, with 6 laps to go, that this was the right way to go on the strategy. We are going to move up into the points then, because Bottas, who has been having another absolute shocker here, is also on this strategy then, and he's going to drop well out of the points then, so it's another miserable day for him. As we see then the 2 racing points up in front of us, you'd think Perez would be moving over for Stroll here then, because well, Stroll's on the quicker strategy here then, but the Bahrain race winner then certainly doesn't want to give up this place then. Obviously he does come into this race as a championship leader, and he's certainly fighting this one then, even though it doesn't look like today he is going to be repeating those Bahrain heroics then. Still side by side then, the 2 racing points into the final corner, and they've stowed it completely there, and that's going to give us a great chance then to take the pair of them. Down the pit straight now then, we've got a great run with DRS and overtake there then, and from the outside into the first corner we managed to take both of them then and move up into 8th position. Had to be so careful there not to make any kind of move that could have, well, ruined all 3 of our races there then, as we see then the replay, and just Perez did not want to give that one up then. It's a surprise that Racing Point went on the radio there then to tell him to back out of that one really. But yeah, just any kind of move there to the right, like too soon, would have resulted in all 3 of us going off there, so had to time that just right there with exactly when I turned in for the first corner there. We see it on board then from Perez, and he was certainly putting up a good fight here then against his teammate, considering the tyre difference, but just he's going to get absolutely swamped then down the straight with no DRS there then, and yeah, it was quite straightforward in the end then for both of us to take that position then once we had that. And yeah, with 2 laps to go then, it's looking like the best we can hope for here is to catch up to Albon and take 7th position in this race. So we're about a second behind. We'll just have to see now then if we can close that down then in the remaining time. Well, we weren't close enough on that lap then, so it's going to be all about the final lap now then. We're just going to have to just hit all the apexes here then, and just hope that we get a good run then down the back straight then right at the end, and yeah, hopefully then we'll be able to move ourselves up a place. But yeah, this strategy just was not the right one then at all from the team, and I do just wonder though if it was because I scrubbed my other set of mediums during Q2. I do wonder if that was what made the team not pick those as the tyres that we went on. I don't know, but at the same time I still think that those would have worked out better for us, and if not them, then I would have thought hard tyres would have worked out better than doing 2 soft stints right at the end, because they wanted us to do a 1 stop on tyres before. They didn't want us to do a 2 stop with 2 soft stints, so yeah, that strategy just did not make sense for them really. And yeah, it's a shame, because if we'd done the same strategy as Leclerc, we may well have had a Ferrari 1-2 here, but nonetheless, so we've followed the team strategy and it hasn't worked out today. It has worked out on some other occasions. For our teammate though, Charles Leclerc, he has won the race then, so that is his first win of this series then, as we are going to make the move then on Albon then into the final hairpin here then. We went just full send with our engine and overtake there, and we managed to make it stick then up into 7th place, and we're on the final corner then. For the 2nd race in a row, it's going to be a 7th place finish.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
Here is that last lap move then on Albon. Obviously we were having to watch out as well for Stroll there behind us, but we just went full send then, Rich and overtake there, then powering us down that straight then, and we managed to make it stick then on the brakes. There we go then, there's the win confirmed for Charles Leclerc, and wow, he has just had an absolutely stunning weekend there then, pole position and the race win, and yeah, just got the strategy absolutely right as well. And yeah, just a fantastic weekend then for our teammate. We really need to up our game then to start matching that now then. Verstappen then second after the disappointment of Bahrain. It's another podium for AlphaTauri then with Pierre Gasly in third. Sainz then with another points finish in fourth. Hamilton then has had 2 fifth places so far this season. Looking further down, Ricciardo with another points finish in sixth. There's us, Albon, Stroll and Perez round out the points. Bottas, no points in 11th. It's been a terrible start to his title defence then. And here are the driver standings then. Charles Leclerc moves up to the top of the driver standings. Perez then moves down to second today. Ricciardo stays third. Hamilton moving up only to fourth. And yeah, looking further down, we are only 10th. Bottas only 11th and Albon only 12th. So just so many surprises all through the field so far. We've had 2 races with 2 very mixed up results, and yeah, it's made it very interesting heading into this new season. In the constructors, we lead. Well, incredibly, we lead at the moment. I say we, but I mean, you take out my points and Ferrari would still be leading, so we haven't contributed too much yet. But wow, this is, well, just a fantastic start for the team then. We're leading the way. Is this the start of maybe a title challenge? We'll have to wait and see then. AlphaTauri staying second as well, incredibly. Just so many just crazy stories all through the field then. Mercedes still only 5th. Red Bull finally gets some points on the board today then in 7th. But yeah, well, it's still all up in the air then after the first 2 races.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy? How did your team respond to the poor conditions today? Appreciate your time.
Despite Charles Leclerc's dominance this weekend, it could have been a lot worse for us in terms of the rivalry, because we did at least get a faster lap than him during the race, so we managed to sort of do a bit of damage limitation there then in terms of how much we actually lost there in our rivalry. So that was good. We gained a chunk of acclaim as well then. And that is it then, basically, for this weekend. Another pretty crazy result then. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's really shaping up to be an exciting season, because you just can't really predict which way it's going to go. Mercedes have, I don't even know what they've been doing so far this season. They've just completely dropped the ball. We've had 2 races where we've probably had the wrong strategy and we haven't really maximised our potential. And yeah, our teammate is looking on absolute fire at the moment. So yeah, very interesting stuff going on then. We head then to the Dutch Grand Prix next time out. So Verstappen's home race there. He'll be looking for a go result. We'll see what we can do then. Can we maintain the championship lead in the constructors? Have to wait and see then. Hope you enjoy this one though. If you did, really appreciate a like on the video, and I hope to see you next time.